Hey guys, Dezz Asante here from the Techmuze Academy. Welcome back to another episode of the Techmuze podcast. I'm really excited about this episode today because I got a chance to chat with my buddy Brian Poillucci from evobandapps.com. And he is, on top of being a musician and an audio engineer, also a digital marketer who understands entrepreneurship and how to actually market yourself as a musician, how to grow your fan base, how to do it in such a way that it's easy, and how to monetize that fan base once you've found them. So definitely, if you enjoyed this content, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, ring the bell so that you get notified of upcoming videos. And without further ado, let's get into today's conversation with Brian Poillucci. So Brian, my friend, how you doing, brother?
Doing very good. I'm super excited to be on a podcast with another audio engineer. I'm happy.
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, we've only just recently become acquainted through a mutual friend, and I've been poking around a little bit online and looking up what, some of the things you're up to, and you got some pretty neat, exciting things on the go for us, us DIY musicians that may add a little pizzazz, I guess, to our brand and our presentation.
Right.
I'll let you tell us a little bit about that. But before we get into that, just give our audience a little 1, 2, 3. Who are you? Where'd you come from? What do you do? And why might we enjoy listening to your thoughts on some of the subjects we're going to get into?
Yeah, man. So really, long story short, and I will, that's the journeys, of course, of all of our music careers and everything are long. But at the end of the day, I'm just a guitar player and an audio engineer, and I kind of didn't get into the digital marketing stuff until I was trying to keep the recording studio business open in 2006, 2007, 2008, and it was really, it didn't hit us until 2009, 2010. It seemed like, people still had their investments in. But anyway, the studio started going down and it really turned into, okay, how can we get into online mixing and mastering? If you're going to record your crap at home, send it to us, just like a lot of what you do. And that's how, that's why I'm excited to talk to you, because I think we have some parallels when it comes to, trying to adapt your business. We all went through the analog to digital change in the studio, but we also have to go through that change with our marketing and how we're setting up. And so through the years, I have a son now, he's 10, and, when you have kids, it turns into you got to make money, right? So,
yeah.
It turned into, after learning how to really dive into how to find people who needed online mixing and mastering services, I started helping out a lot of friends of mine who had other businesses, music schools really, to start. And I really cut my teeth with Facebook ads, when they first started coming out. And I took lessons, I bought into it. I mean, I landed heavy in with Facebook ads when it came. And that, fast forward a few years, turned into a really great freelance company with me as a freelancer. I grew that into an agency, and then the agency focused on software, software. So that's where everything's going, and
right.
After being put out of business in a sense in the recording studio because of technology, I think I've overcompensated, and we're ahead of the curve now, but I will never let technology put me out of business again. I'm going to constantly evolve with it.
Yeah.
And that's always been the point of my company. Well, Evo Audio Group, it's Evo Band Apps now, but using the evolution of technology to help musicians, whether it be in post-production for things cheap or, the live recording stuff that was happening back then, it was great. And now to the point when we can tag each other in Pro Tools sessions and work on the cloud. It's really come a long way,
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned something that I think is worth repeating there, and that is the fact that, as musicians, which, I'm assuming most of the people listening or watching this conversation are on some level or another, we're a lot of us are still in the, the 80s mentality of put my hand up to the record label and say, pick me,
right,
and what have you. And there's so many things that have changed, some for the good, some for the bad, right? All depending on one's perspective and motivations. But I do think that, keeping your finger on the pulse of what's happening technologically, evolving your own practices and strategies along with the new technologies and tools that are available to us, and then, of course, in light of all this this Facebook data leaking stuff and all of that, that being aware of all of these, there's so much happening now, and it changes so quickly that it can really be quite daunting. And I think it's good that there's people like yourself and people that are really trying to stay up to date and then share that stuff with people. And I try my best to do that as well, as most people who follow me for a while would know.
Well, it's a double, right? I mean, it's a matter of, look, it's really old school marketing it still works. It's the same idea, it's the same mentality, and it is super overwhelming to come at and look at. Like you've preached why a band really needs their website and their own email list, and all the fundamentals are there, and it can be super overwhelming. But what I try to do is break everything down into the simple hope marketing versus, the will you marry me marketing. And there's a lot of musicians, and, I've been saying that a lot, that have not heard the will you marry me marketing analogy of, and it goes back to the same idea of, again, using these new tools and new strategies that will keep evolving and changing. But at the end of the day, it's exactly the same. It's just like trying to find a wife or a husband. You've got your cold audience, your warm audience, and your hot audience.
Yeah.
And I try to break it down for musicians because I think a lot of people talk to them like they're stupid in a sense. Oh, you're a musician, you're a creative, you're not into the business, and it's just creatives. They need to continue to do, what they do and make content. But if they can simply wrap their head around the idea that you talk to somebody, your cold audience. Let me throw the analogy just for your audience so they have perspective if they're listening. So if you're trying to find your husband and wife, you go up to them at the bar and you cannot say, I'm awesome, this is great, here's the ring, let's get married. And that's what most bands do. It's, here I am, here's my music, go buy my album. You can't do that. People still buy through getting to know you. So your cold audience, they've never heard you before. They have no idea who you are. They're the people who come to the show and are there for the other bands. And so what you need to do is have a system and a strategy set up to then collect them into your system, into your business funnel, your sales funnel, your whatever way term you want to use, but to move them to the warm audience. Okay, I've seen you, I've heard you, now engage with me so I get to know you. And it's, again, it breaks down to, let me take you on the first date. Are you going to get to a second date? Are you going to get to a third date? You got to warm them up to the point when you're so engaged and they believe you and they trust you and she's ready to move in with you, and then they're hot. Then you ask to marry her. Then you ask for the sale. And people just need to really understand that you have to talk to people differently, whether they're cold, they're warm, and they're hot. And it's a very simple way to think about it, to try not to be so overwhelmed with, oh, here's how my Facebook ad funnel works, and here's how this Google strategy works, and here's how there's so much, And I think a lot of it's thrown at us to confuse us, so I can sell you a $2,000 product to teach you how to do it.
Sure.
There's a widen the gap theory in sales, right? You widen the gap for someone to believe that without this product or without knowing this knowledge, you're never going to make it. Right. So there's a lot of overwhelming stuff I think that people get thrown with, how to set up a website. That's a rabbit hole right there. So. Yeah, I think it goes back and forth that way,
Yeah, it's interesting too, and I mean, when you use the "Will you marry me" analogy, everyone's like, "Well, duh!" Like, it's such a simple concept. Everybody knows these things, whether it's consciously or just intuitively, for the most part. But people still forget when they start to think about how am I going to get my art, my creativity in front of people, and so on. They just don't link the fact that they're not just trying to sell a CD or a download or a T-shirt. They're trying to make a fan. And what is a fan? Somebody that knows you, likes you, and trusts you, and talks about you, ideally, right?
Right. And as a digital marketer, I see that as my average value per client. Every single customer that we get, it's not about just making the sale. It's about, how do you get that person to come back to the restaurant a couple times a month? Yeah. How do you get that person to come to the same hair salon over and over again? How do you get someone to come to your show over and over again and bring their buddies? And it becomes a level of of engagement, which I understand social media, and all the platforms, they're all over the place. But the idea to have your own platform, your own centralized system, your own lead magnet, your own tripwire, one of the rules of business that, plenty of business mentors have told me over the years is you don't build your business on someone else's platform.
Yeah.
Because things like you said, Facebook has changed and things change all the time. But instead of bitching about those changes, you need to learn how to capitalize on them and evolve with them. And there's so many gold little nuggets of greatness in there that, I'm not a big fan of people complaining about the state of things, but more of thinking of the strategy and how we can leverage it.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of complaining in general. I think it serves no purpose.
Exactly.
Now, you dropped a couple lingo bombs there. So just for the people who are listening that might not be aware, can you explain lead magnet and tripwire?
All right, perfect. Good question. You're right, because as a digital marketer, that's the stuff we get into every day. That's just, you go past. But yeah, exactly. You have to think of the lead magnet and tripwire is the same thing everyone knows they see on their Facebook page all day. For us as audio engineers, I'm sure they get put in your email to download the free equalizer cheat sheet or how to mix your snare drum. That's just a lead magnet to get you into their sales funnel, into their system so that you can market. Usually that's through email, or right now you'll see a lot of the send message because ManyChat is now integrated with Facebook and Zapier to be able to put the email on other stuff. So there's a lot of lead magnets in there. Anytime you see ClickFunnels, that's a lead magnet to download this free ebook. Yeah. But a band needs the same thing, because this gets into the hope marketing. When you're at a live show and you're just hoping that, hey guys, visit us online or find us on Facebook, or you're just hoping that they come over and do. You're not actually getting them into your funnel and into your strategy. And that's what the lead magnet product or that ebook or whatever it is. So, for example, our mobile app platforms, that's the whole deal is, look, download our mobile app, learn more about us, but when they sign in, they can sign in with Facebook, Google, Twitter, and they get added to your email list. But either way, they're in the pocket. So it's the lead magnet. Instead of sending your cute girlfriend out to the audience with a clipboard, which I've done, and try to get everyone to sign up for the emails while they're drunk, and then I have to decipher the scribbles and try to put them into MailChimp the next day. It doesn't work. So how many bands we know and have worked with over the years? I just got off tour in Japan. I just did this and that, and they're hustling and they're putting out this content, but they say they have a marketing plan, but there is no plan. It's just hoping, like you said, like in the 80s, I'm going to put my hand up and hope someone puts me on their Spotify playlist. I'm going to hope that a small percentage of these people turn into fans. You have to get rid of all that hope marketing and set up a funnel and a strategy and a business model to be empowered with. And again, it's very simple, and it's been proven over and over again by a million different industries and niches, all different ways. But bands are just not thinking about their bands as a business in that sense for whatever reason. And we could probably talk about the psychology of that, maybe get a psychology guest on sometime to talk about that stuff. But there's this mental barrier there. But yeah, having the system and the lead magnet to then, once they're cold, they're in your warm audience, you engage with them through that email list or through the app or through whatever your system is there, and to warm them up. And like you said, it's not about just trying to sell that stuff. It's about making people part of your band.
That's right.
Right? It's about making, and that's why I love seeing how people are leveraging the apps, like showing people demos or mixes while they're being done, or, writing songs, or picking the set list, picking the music when they come to the city, or, people are getting really, I love seeing people get creative in how they're engaging with their fans. We have one artist who's from Israel, and they have a great music scene out there, and she does all these prayer sessions because, they're all Jewish, her fan and her bass. So she does a lot of inspirational just conversations through her Facebook Live. So it's really about turning them into that super fan and making them part of the band. If you're just doing it to push albums, then you're not going to be successful anyway. And
There's an interesting thing. I mean, you talk about something that I pretty much preach about on the regular, which is that when it comes to a lot of business models, a lot of products or services that could be offered, oftentimes, and I'm sure you're aware of this in marketing, it's a problem solution type of thing. So it's like, I have a remedy for migraine headaches. Now I just have to find the people that have migraine headaches and introduce them to my solution. There's a good chance a good percentage of them will purchase it, right? However, when it comes to art, music, painting, whatever it is you do as an artist, it's not a direct problem solution necessarily. I mean, your music might solve a problem in my life, but that same song would solve a different problem in somebody else's life. Maybe it's sadness or I just want to dance or whatever the emotional thing that needs to be fulfilled, and this piece of music solves it, but that piece of music is going to do something different for somebody else. And so there's this ambiguity just sort of naturally wrapped up in art marketing where and I started thinking about this for a while, and I realized that when it comes to art marketing, it's the artist, not the art so much. I don't know if you're like me this way, but I've got so many CDs that I haven't even taken the shrink wrap off because I was into the band, I was into the artist. I bought the CD as a way of showing support and saying thank you. And then I got their music on Spotify. I don't even need to put the CD in the player, right?
That's a perfect place to think about like Kiss, right? There's a reason they all have a separate character. Each member of the band has a different history, a different the thing, you connect with them differently. People connect with people in the bands. That's why it's so important that I tell bands for, not to market yourself or communicate, as the band. You communicate as Michael, the bass player in the band. And this is Jeffrey, the guitar guy. And everyone has their different things in their polls, just like people, that guy's a dick, this guy's awesome. We're all gonna gravitate towards different types of people, but you're right. But the key word that you said was emotion, and we all know that. Anyone knows any hit song or anything you write, or even the songs that you write that are good are because there was emotion tied to it. That's just true for everyone. But you're right. It's building that emotion. And here we are with every tool and strategy to pretty much for free, in a sense, communicate with people on a much deeper level. But the problem is it's all scattered. It's all over the place. You need to organize it into your own business model, into your own structure, and get into, that's, again, where you're in their pocket and you can communicate with them. It's really about, like I say, making them feel like part of the band, and that's on every individual. I think for every individual in the band to communicate, instead of this is our brand talking to you. Right. It's us talking with you.
Yeah, and I'm a firm believer, and this is somewhat debatable, but I'm a firm believer that a genuine, authentic presentation always wins every time, because there is the sort of prefabricated persona, and people have had success with that, Lady Gaga and whatever, you know what I'm saying? So there is merit to that argument, but in my opinion, in my experience, I think that just being authentically genuine is going to get you super fans, which, by the way, I define a super fan as somebody who started off listening to my music, but now is interested in me as the artist, right? Once they get past the music and to the human, right? The human that's responsible for that art. That's when you have somebody who wants to support you, who wants to throw you a buck on Patreon, every time you put out a new video or what have you. Come to your show and buy your merchandise.
That's a great point to get into the super fan and where it is and the business models that people have missed. And this is really where the membership side and the monthly recurring revenue model that every podcaster with their closed groups, the Twitch person my son plays to watch Star Wars Battlefront on whatever, there's monthly subscription services that every other content creator is leveraging, but bands don't. And I like that Patreon has kind of broken the ceiling and given people a chance to do it, but you're still building your business on someone else's platform. You're still locked in and strapped in with their certain things and regulations, or it's really about putting it on your own email list and have your own system. That's why we have the membership stuff that's built into the mobile app to move that person over. So when they pay for whether it's monthly or yearly, I tell people to look at, Patreon packages of the top people and get good ideas. But depending on what your fan base wants, then you charge them the monthly fee to, like I said, not just get your stuff for free, stream all of it or get it. they become part of the band. Those are the people who pick the songs at the next show. Those are the people who look at the different album artwork covers and chats about what one we want.
Yeah.
You know, they're the ones that, and that was a great thing an artist of ours did the other week, and I didn't even think of that. So it's great to see how all these artists are getting creative with how they engage with those fans. But that's really the goal. So a business model for a band, I don't see the merch, definitely not playing live shows. There's no profit there. You know, the core product, I believe, can kind of be, the music, the streaming or whatever, but the profit maximizer, or the thing that's really going to generate the revenue, is the subscription service, is a membership program, is a fan club on a whole different level of fan club.
Yeah.
You know, it's taking it to that level, you know?
Absolutely. I 100% agree with you. In fact, a number of years ago when I first started this whole Techmuze thing and what have you, I had that epiphany that like a membership, a recurring subscription of some kind that is valuable to the customer is the golden ticket. It's like the best business model.
And I did not see the value until we developed the mobile app platform for bands.
Well, tell us a little bit about that. This seems like a good way to segue into the endeavors you're into right now and what you're offering up to musicians. Now, give us a little 1, 2, 3 on the company. What is it you're offering, and how is this going to help musicians, further their careers?
Right. Well, it really came from me every day in my office with my digital marketing company agency, and every single day going, can we swear on this podcast? You've got a good audience, right? Every day I'd get frustrated and I go, fuck, if only a band was doing this.
Yeah.
Every day it happened, because I'm just a musician. Everyone that works for me, basically, we're all musicians. It's my world here. I was that first. Yeah. So, we all, but it was never cost effective enough. It was never the price points. We charged $3,000 to $8,000 for mobile apps for businesses that we would build out, and bands can't afford that. On the lower level. Mm-hmm. So what I did was, turning 30 was kind of a thing for me, really. I call it one of those little crises, really. We all look back and go, 20-year-old guitar playing Brian, who played constantly, would be really pissed at 30-year-old Brian right now. Yes, you're providing for your family. It took a lot of hustle. All that stuff's good. The money's there, but I just want to be in this. I want to do what every musician that is probably listening or people wanted, is just make music all day.
Yeah.
So I love my job, my company, but I stepped away from that and took the past 9 months basically to figure out how to automate the systems that we've developed over the past 10 years. How do we automate so much of that to get the price point down? So we have all of my friends, all of my advisors, everyone telling me I'm crazy for taking a product, making it as cheap as possible, and then going to sell it to people who have no idea why it's going to help them right away. Versus a business you go to, they want it right away. Every restaurant knows that mobile food ordering or the mobile, it's a different ball game. So what we did was take that, and now that's my mission. I'm out of the office all day. I'm home now. That's all automated. So I'm here to talk to guys like you and try to show people that if you do have this model of moving somebody between cold and warm and hot, if you just grasp the basic empowerment of a band, a band after they get an app, the best feeling for me is when they feel empowered, that they're not spinning their wheels anymore, that all the hustle that they're doing is they have a lead magnet. Download the mobile app, boom, they're in. Then all the content they're already making. These guys who are already hustling, already posting, the people that do get it, we both know them. They're engaging, they're kicking ass, but they don't have the business model or the tools and the strategy in play there. So by adding the mobile app to that formula, taking all your videos, all your music, everything that you have everywhere on the internet into there, and then on the back end, of course, having the membership. So if people pay, then they unlock whatever those extra stuff you can come up with for them, then that generates the monthly recurring revenue. So it's really that we could talk a long time about features, or, it has a million features as it is, but the features are not where the benefit. For me, it's the business model. It's empowering the strategy of having a platform that's your own, that you don't have to pay Zuckerberg to reach your fans. You can send them a push notification,
right.
New music video out, engaging with people on a different level, like sending those fans with the app a GPS targeted text message so that only people within an X mile range of the city you're playing in send a message to the super fans and say, hey, meet us over here at this bar or at the corner. We're going to do a fan only meet and greet. Or there's so many cool things you could do and leverage, and the technology is great, but the whole idea is to empower without going and building a crazy website and a full e-commerce platform and trying to figure out, I'm sure you know it, right, man? How long, honestly, did it take you? Your website looks great and stuff now, but I guarantee when you first uploaded your membership stuff to there, that there's a lot of hours in just digging through how to set that up right.
Yeah.
And that stuff can be daunting for bands. So it really is just the key piece, the tools and the strategy to plug in to what you're doing now, your marketing now, but follow that business model. And if you follow it, again, it's not like something we creative or I'm a genius and came up with. This is the stuff I sit in my office and do for hundreds of businesses. So it works everywhere else. But bands have not only been priced out of the market, but I think musicians have unfairly been treated as creatives who won't even care or go after. I think bands and musicians with high-level Facebook targeting and Google targeting have missed the education bubble, we call it, right? You know? But the good thing about that bubble is at least you learn shit in passing, right? You learn why this is important, why an email is. You learn all those things, and at least you're not so overwhelmed or that first trigger of fear of something, crazy and new or involved. So really, that's why I've developed this app and with this platform for musicians, moving them over there,
Yeah, it sounds to me like you're really doing a good job of taking a lot of the things that I teach in the Artist Promotion Blueprint over at the Techmuze Academy and sort of putting them into a slightly more turnkey kind of solution, where you've got you're not necessarily digital sharecropping everything you do anymore. You have your own piece of property, I guess, digital property that you own and control, and then of course, now if I understand you correct, would one of the apps that you would create for an artist, would it tap into like their YouTube channel and pull stuff in and this and that? Is that how it works? So
exactly, we built them for any small business owner or any business owner does not want a new thing to take care of, a new website to manage. So yeah, it's syncing your Instagram account to the photos on it. It's syncing the YouTube stuff and all that stuff. The real power is the push notifications, which are the direct text messages, to different content and different stuff. And then there's so much cool stuff like the loyalty program that if you go to a show, just like we developed it for businesses. So if I go to a hair salon, I get 5 haircuts, you give me a free one. Same idea for bands, but we use it to check in at the merch table when they're there. So if you come and see my band 3, 4, 5 times or whatever, and I come and I check in at the merch table, give me a free signed T-shirt or whatever. But it's a way to not only keep track of them, but all the users who download the app get put into your fan database. So you literally get to watch and look at the analytics of this is how much I'm growing my base. This is what this show actually did for us. We got this many new fans. And when they sign up with Facebook, Google, or Twitter, we don't do any of the sketchy, pull all your creepy data off of it. But what we do pull is the email address, the profile picture so you can see them in the back end. And that allows us to automatically add them to your email list so that it's a way to build that list out. Because, again, the craziest thing to me is a band going on tour and, not leveraging that, not using, to their extent. They don't have a way to get all those collect all those people that they see. So every single band, this should now be the model. Look, guys, we have a this is our lead magnet. The tripwire product in there sometimes could be like, a cheap CD or something cheap maybe. But the idea is to, when they download the app, they can get one of those free fan rewards, we call them. So, hey, guys, you got to incentivize people and they want to get something back. So you say, download download our mobile app, get a free fan point towards your fan rewards, and listen to our acoustic EP on the way home, and send us some love in there. And then they start to engage on your platform and communicate through there on your fan wall. There's so much in the apps to engage, with them when they're in there, and that's where the magic happens. It's on your own, but
yeah, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. I'm quite curious to look into this myself for a number of different things, both me as a musician, but also for some of the other projects that I'm into. And it's great because from the sounds of it, really what you're doing is gift wrapping this whole business model essentially into a platform that I assume would be fairly intuitive to use, both for the artist and for the fan. And the other thing too that like you're talking about, the most crazy thing in the world is a band going on tour and not leveraging the collection of contact information. Because I think a lot of people forget about something we spoke about a little earlier, that is relationship building. In fact, I think of my quote unquote sales funnel is a very commonly used term. I've kind of renamed that as my relationship funnel, because that's exactly what I'm trying to do is, as you've mentioned, is get in front of cold audiences that have never heard me, don't know anything about me, with something that might catch their attention. And then I want to lead them gently through this journey towards being in a relationship with me on some level or another. I want to have fan and friend to be pretty much the same thing as much as I can do it, and especially at scale. I talk about this a lot too. If you have 10 fans, you can write them all handwritten, thank you letters and lick them and stick them and put them in the mail. You have 10,000 fans, you have to figure out a way to still be as genuine and to still establish that connection, but on a way that can scale so that your business can scale and your career can develop. So it sounds like you're doing some good work in that field, and I hope that people listening and watching this today will definitely go and check it out and give it some strong consideration, because like I say, whether or not they have an app built, it's the concept. It's this how you move forward with growing your fan base and nurturing your fan base, not just sending them promotional emails all the time, but let them, I always use the phrase, open the kimono, let them into your world, right? Yeah. And let them get to know who you are and to resonate with you. And those people who don't resonate with you, that's fine. There's lots of other musicians they can go ahead and enjoy. There's nothing wrong with that either.
It drives me, as, growing this and getting a lot of them, anyone can go to the website and sign up for a little demo and, try to get their head wrapped around it, because there are so many great bands that are still like, well, we just spent a lot of money on the tour, and we're not really ready to make an investment in some heavy marketing stuff. And that's just crazy, because I tell people it's like for example, I got a brewery client launching a new brewery. It's like a restaurant or a brewery buying everything, putting it all together, and then just hoping people show up. They're the marketing end of it, and someone told me, it was really hard for me to walk away from the six-figure company that continues to grow to try to do this. But I knew if I didn't do it now, that I would have just been there. There was no way I could go away from it. So, but they need to understand that not having whether they buy an app or not, it's really about if they don't have the plan, if they don't have an actual sales funnel, relationship funnel, fan finder, whatever you want to call it, to connect, engage. We call it connect, grow, engage, and monetize. Like a 4-step simple process. You need some type of plan set up, and it's just crazy, obviously, to me as a marketer. Anyway, we see everything through our lens, but to spend the kind of dough that some bands are spending on different opportunities that they're hoping will become fruitful versus having a real plan and following that plan.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's interesting because nobody wants to feel like a salesperson, right? Nobody wants it, but well, I have 2 points there. The first point is a lot of musicians just do that anyway. They're like that. The only stuff they're posting is buy my shit, buy my shit, buy my shit. Hey, I got some new shit. Want to buy it? Right. Which obviously, as you know, is not the best approach, right? And then
they go, Facebook sucks.
That's right. I can't sell it. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And then the second point I like to make on that topic is that with good marketing, you don't have to sell anything. Sales happen as a byproduct all by themselves of great marketing and relationship development. And it's the same in any business, you know, even with the Techmuze Academy, right? Like, I put out this content, nobody has to pay for it. They can subscribe in iTunes and listen. They can jump on YouTube and watch if they prefer to do it that way. And I do this, you know, as regularly as I can, although I'm guilty of not being consistent enough, but that's a topic for another day. But, you know, and the reason I do that is to provide points of discovery. So somebody who's searching for something one day on YouTube will stumble upon one of my videos. Hopefully it resonates with them. There's the introduction, right? You know, there's the sit down at the bar, can I buy you a drink, right? kind of thing.
Exactly.
And then, of course, all of my content, and I apply this approach to all the things I do.
From there, what's the next step?
Right.
So you get the video, what's the next step?
Well, the next step is, please enter into my world. So here's something of value. Why don't you just, you know, give me your email address so I know where to send it, and I'll send it to you right away. And then from there, now I have the opportunity on a one-to-one basis to build a relationship with that person, with that individual, you know, and of course, using tools like the things that you develop with the apps and some of the other things that are available that I teach about in the Academy. You know, using those tools, we can automate a great deal of those things so that you can scale, so that you can actually have more than 10 fans and still build a relationship with them, right? And,
isn't that the frustrating thing of being able to see it from our side, where, you know, we have the systems or whatever in play, but really at the end of the day, all the artist has to do is keep being a great artist.
Yeah.
They're already connecting. You're already creating content. You've already put the recording studios out of business because you can record stuff at home on your 11 rack way better than, you know, like it's so, they're just content creators now. And I know they're musicians and I'm a musician, but, you know, they're content creators, and they have to think of themselves, I think, that way. But again, a lot of what you say, though, and I've heard on other stuff, is the authenticity part. And as a marketer, I follow the data, and, you know, as millennials get older and have more money, there's no push marketing to them. They smell bullshit a mile away. Even Gen X got a little bit. They started it, you know, and it's slowly been getting morphed to the point where people don't trust anyone anymore.
Yeah.
But the authenticity is super important. So, you know, I tell bands all the time that are worried about producing a great little video of I said, no, grab your phone, connect with the person, just like you would anyone else. Talk to them normal. Just be as authentic as possible. And sometimes that authenticity, you're right, some people, they're not going to take to it. Well, who cares? Those are those people. You know, you're not in the business of making everyone happy. You're in the business of finding 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000 people that will want to support you and be part of the band. And nowadays, with targeted Facebook technology and different people out there like you that are teaching parts of the course, you know, and there's guys out there like Indiepreneur and Kyle's teaching people how to crush it with Facebook funnels. And like, there's a lot of different great resources out here that people should invest in to learn and to grow, but not be wrapped up in the education bubble of crap, you know, over there. But that's why I love different guys like you and different other people that are popping up around this area that are trying to say, like, come on, let's get back up to par here. You know, but you're right. What you said at the beginning of this interview, from being the 80s, Hope, we used to run on Hope marketing, and now it's crazy. But that used to be our business model. I hope an A&R hears us and loves us. Like, that's even crazy back then. I hope that one of these 4 million tapes that I'm about to send out, I hope that one guy listens to it and loves it. It's like, it's so embedded in our brains as musicians for doing that through the years. Like, to get my first CD in stores, I started my own independent record label just so I can make a deal with Strawberries on their little independent, you know, CD release rack there. And I was hoping that, you know, if we made it look legit and got it there, it could be. There's just, I think we're so wired for Hope marketing that it is a little bit of hurdle. But yeah, the app gets rid of all the Hope marketing. Gets rid of all the I hope this, I hope that. Put a business model, like you said, turnkey. I don't use the word turnkey in my marketing material because, again, I like to be authentic, and turnkey sounds like you don't need to hustle sometimes. But it is a full turnkey solution to the digital problems. But just like a business, the businesses I've worked with, I could build you the greatest website, the greatest app, the greatest tools in the world, but if you're not authentically creating and using that, you're not gonna be successful.
You got to drive it. You got to drive it once you build it.
Right. You got to drive that. And my biggest and my last little thing when it comes to the frustrating part of this is the bands who are just starting or growing the base. There's this exception for some reason that they think I need to get to 100,000 or 1,000 subscribers before I do this, or I need to grow my page this much before I do this. And that mentality is, again, the full backwards. That's like people investing in all the other stuff before they invest in the website or the marketing or, the monthly hosting for your website to have it legit and fast. There's small things, but, it's really starting from that foundation, whether you're a small band just starting out, you're medium, or you're a huge band with already a fan club. You're going to use the technology probably a little different ways, but you should be following the same model and the same plan, you know?
Yeah. And it's, and especially, I mean, I know when I'm talking to you, I'm preaching to the choir because we're both interested in digital marketing. I refer to myself as a marketing nerd all the time, and pretty much will go off and bend anyone's ear clean off if they'll let me about these subjects, right? But I suppose the trouble is that much like we were talking about the whole 20-year ago thing. I mean, part of the problem is that back in those days, you did kind of have to hope because, if you I lived just outside of Toronto, and if I wanted
such a good point, such a good point. Keep going.
If I wanted my music to be heard, on the other side of the country in Vancouver, then I had basically three options. I could get on the radio somehow. I could get on the local video channel, MTV, Much Music, whatever, which don't seem to play much music anymore. But or I could get in my van and drive there. Those were my choices, and all of which were difficult and potentially very expensive. And so having a record label, having a corporation that was invested in my own profits and career to help support with those things, that was kind of necessary, right? Now, I mean, I just pull out my phone, go on, Facebook Live and go, hey guys, here's a little tune I'm working on. And anyone in the world can now check that out, depending on my privacy settings.
Right. Well, leveraging the tech is the same. For example, one of the bands that we have, you send a quick little market, right? You send targeted Facebook ads to a specific city or area that you want to travel to or build your base, and you target them to the point when you give them the freebies, the mobile app to be able to, whatever the freebie you're giving them, listen to our free album, download the app, and then you can send one push note after you've built that base up a little bit with cheap money too. You're talking $50 to $100 investment to take over a 20-mile radius. It's really not that much. If you're not willing to invest the $20 to get Vancouver or Providence or Boston or wherever, then again, you're not playing the game. So what they do is they build up that area and then they send a push notification to say, everyone flood this radio station right now. So you send that text message or push notification, then everyone can start calling. So it shows like a big flood instead of hoping you can. But again, that's just one small story and strategy of how to leverage what you're talking about, the new tools, the new technology, and the new strategies that we have to be able to do that, And again, that's why, to your point, I think why as musicians, if you were born anytime, in the 80s, then you remember just growing up on hope marketing. You know?
And I, for one, am quite happy and excited about the world we live in today. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's all kinds of things that I would rather change too, but that's a whole other conversation. I just love the opportunities that we have, that the average human being with a regular income, I'm not talking about being Daddy Warbucks or being born into money or anything like that. I'm talking regular working folk can do some things these days that used to cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. Even
crowdfunding. Look at crowdfunding. I had to get 3 jobs to record my first album. Recorded all on D88 deck tape. That shit was expensive. It was always expensive. I remember, dude, that had to, I think I'll bust out the numbers now. It was like $15,000 to record that first album. I had to work my butt off. But you're right. The same things that have brought everything else down, have brought everything cheap down. But that's why I think a lot of indie bands don't believe a lot of this is possible because the bands that are doing it, there's a reason we don't know who they are. And I keep meeting more and more and more of them, launching this side of my business now. And it just, I'm so amazed that I know so many bands that make well over 6 figures a year that nobody will know who they are because you're not their target market, because you're not part of their 1 to 5,000 or 1 to 10,000, super fans that are, supporting them or paying them.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that has me the most excited these days, which I'm sure you can relate to because you run a digital marketing agency, is targeting. I mean, I just need people who are listening right now to imagine if, let's say for example, okay, you're trying to grow your fan base. Imagine if you could deliver, a demo CD door to door only to the people that would most likely like it, right?
Most likely. Most likely is not even part of it. With leveraging Facebook's lookalike audience, to get into some heavy stuff, you guarantee that the people that it's going to come across, it's just a matter if they have enough time in their day to stop for 2 seconds and look at it. That's the only draw.
That's just it. And I mean, when you combine that with things like retargeting, we're not going to nerd out too deeply on this right now, but because I want to be respectful of your time as well. But I mean, it's extremely exciting when you juxtapose what I can do for $5 a day on Facebook with, the old school marketing approach is like, think about a billboard. You put a billboard up, it costs you a bunch of thousands of dollars. A bunch of cars drive by it because it's a high traffic area. That's why you chose it. That's why it's so expensive. How many of those cars, A, look at it, and B, it's even relevant? Are they your potential fan? Are they your potential customer? You're spending thousands of dollars getting in front of people who don't care and never will.
And that's the difference between push marketing and pull marketing.
Exactly.
What you're talking about, the billboards, the banners, that's all dead and gone, and nobody even cares anymore about. The scary part is I guess that we've been talking a while. Any record labels that were listening probably aren't by now, but a lot of them are still old school pulling it, pull marketing. It drives me crazy, some of these, but I'm really enjoying changing a lot of their minds. I'm really enjoying seeing the people go from, we don't need an app, to like, oh shit, we just got more emails in 24 hours than we've ever got in the past, year of doing this. So I don't mind switching it up.
Well, it's really nice to meet a fellow warrior, on the mission. So that's really good. But like I said, I do want to be respectful of your time. But before we wrap it up, give us like a 3 or 4, whatever, little sales pitch. Make sure people understand exactly what it is that your company does. Tell them where they can find you, and maybe if you have one last piece of parting advice that comes to mind, that would be great as well.
Yeah, that's good. Again, I'm a practitioner. I don't go into sales mode as crazy. We just do it more of results as it is. But what I would say to wrap it up is, go to evobandapps.com. There's 4 videos you can look at: features to connect, features to grow, features to engage, and features to monetize, because it really is selling them that way. And there's a purpose why I'm trying to sell them that way, is so that you understand your new business model. Without the first version of the website was all about the model. No one got. Now it's working because people can see, okay, these are the features I'm going to use to at a new live show. I'm going to get them. I'm going to use it as my lead magnet. I'm going to grow my email list. I'm going to be able to see them with these. I can engage with them this way, and then monetizing. And we haven't even had time. We could spend another hour talking about different revenue streams. But again, a lot of your stuff in your course, I think, can go through different stuff, but also becoming an affiliate. So when you become an Evo, when you get an app, you have the opportunity to become an affiliate of ours, which is $100 per sale sent right to your PayPal account. And a lot of bands they try to get endorsements, but I'm not a fan of it. I like the money. Give me, I want to be an affiliate. Let me send me that money through my PayPal account, please. So that's right. I'd say people go, but really, I think, people should carefully invest and engage with, courses like yours. The other, I think people should come out of, as a digital marketer, I know how they're stuck in their bubbles, because it's my job to keep you in your bubble. But what I want people to do is to really break out. Go listen to some Pat Flynn's Smart Passive Income and break into that. Go check out a Gary Vee video. Go, be okay to think about yourself that way. At least poke into that world so your online algorithms will start to show you some of that a little more, because they're just not in that bubble right now. So that's where I think people should expand out of there. It's just like meeting new friends, right? But literally digitally now, since we're all so wrapped into our targeted bubbles, we really have to force ourselves to kind of go search in some different areas, just not to see the same reinforcements back to you. But I tell anyone to go to the website, sign up for a demo, and me or one of the guys will answer your questions and go through how it can work. And take it from there, and message me anytime if you have any questions.
That's great. That's great. What about social? Where's the best place if people want to link up with you on social? You Instagram guy, Facebook guy?
No, we got Facebook going on. Really, the Facebook is where it's at for me, because, again, that's where I cut my teeth. And, the Facebook ads are my lowest customer acquisition cost. And just like any expanding business, I'll hit the other platforms when I need to. But right now, the targeted Facebook ads, and it's just so cheap, and it's way better than if you do it right, as well. But, Matt Gibson will be our new PR guy, our mutual friend, will be on the other social platforms as it is. But Facebook is a good play if you're a social person. But for me, it's all about the website. You go to the website because that's where the info is. That's where you can learn. That's where you can book this stuff. And that's where you're going to get into my sales funnel.
Sure.
Right? Everything that we're trying to tell everyone else to do. If I go visit your band and I go to your website, I should be getting some type of retargeting ad or stuff after there. And, maybe someday I'll come back on and we can talk about some specifics of maybe some of those strategies or some of that stuff as we go down,
Yeah, I'd really enjoy that. In fact, I was going to suggest that we have another conversation at some point in the future, because I can tell just from this one that there's all kinds of things we did not yet cover that we could talk for blocks about. So yeah, we'll definitely see if we can hook that up. And like I mentioned, it's great to meet somebody else who's as nerdy as I am when it comes to this marketing stuff, and who's also in the field of music, because as I'm sure you do too, I listen to a lot of podcasters and guys and girls that really know their stuff, that are speaking about what they did yesterday, not an old textbook in a university course. We're talking straight from the horse's mouth, which I think is a fantastic thing. And like the advice that I've gotten a number of times is, if you want to be successful at something, find someone who's already successful and copy them as a place to start. You can put your own spin on it later, but as a way to get going, find someone who's already being successful and do what they do. And it's nice that we're starting to get people in the field of music that are becoming successful with these marketing models and business building strategies, that are beginning to talk about it, that are beginning to educate other musicians that, hey, it's not just strumming and humming. If you want to, if you choose to, you could actually turn this into a business. And here's some people that are going to help to show you how. And I'm happy to have met somebody else who's on that team, as they say.
Yep, I'm on the team. Let's make it happen for people. And that's why I get more. I'm so excited about really a year or two down the line when I have badass case studies. Some of the bigger bands, the numbers aren't relatable. You get a bigger band like Stryper or Steve Vai or some of the Godsmack, some of the bigger bands that we're doing, they're immediately going to get a ton of downloads. They're going to get a ton of engagement. So the numbers are impressive. But, the smaller bands, but they're hustling. They go to a show, add people to our fan list, market them, go through. So I'm really looking forward to 1-2 years down the line when I've got some great case studies to run those great targeted Facebook ads to show but you're right. It's now that people are starting to come out and say, hey, it's possible. But it goes back to what we were saying before, the targeting is so specific and niche that, you're not going to easily find, a lot of those people that are doing it. So like you said, find people who are, if you can, those musicians, and we'll share them when we do, but also focus on the business model of other podcasters with membership groups, the same business model, and how that's a big piece of it as well, and again, it's not anything new, man. There's hundreds and thousands of people and businesses that use the same model every day. I'm just trying to have hopefully the mobile app can be that turnkey thing to turn all that hustle into, hey, this is the model.
Right.
This is the
some results. And I should say, excuse me, I should say too that there are some businesses out there using these exact same approaches that are 7-8 figure businesses, and not necessarily musicians, but but they're using the exact same models, the same strategies, the same core approaches. They just have something different to offer at the end of the day. And so, it's definitely worth looking into.
It is. Well, it's great to meet you, man, and I'm sure we'll be talking again real soon.
Yeah, Ryan, thanks a lot for your time, and let's stay in touch. One of the things I love about having a platform like this is I get to meet new people and add them into my network. So let's stay in touch, and I'm curious to see how your company develops as time goes on, and you may have a customer. You never know.
Yeah, I usually do. That's the best part about having such a great, product that you believe in and that's there and him. Like, I'm really feel blessed that over all these years, it's been a long journey to get here, man. So, I feel blessed that we have, and this is why it was worth the risk to go away from the stable business. Is there's a much better, it feels so much better to work with my people, and talk to you and not put on the suit and the tie and shave and go and try to, just sell some baby boomer into why, this is compelling, and I feel so blessed to work with great guys from all over the place. But message me anytime. I'll be here for you, pal.
Very cool, man. Thanks a lot for your time, and we'll talk again soon.